have taught me amazing things. They've shown me that equines are the bridge to a deeper understanding of the meaning of life and a better sense of ourselves in this world. I'm Meredith Hodges, and I'd like to share with you some of the people I've met and the experiences that I've had along life's journey with those magnificent mules.
Equines in the wild have an instinctual migration that puts them in contact with natural obstacles that gives them an awareness of their own bodies. Athletic conditioning incorporates physical challenges and obstacles to replicate the migration demands and help them learn proprioception. It is equally important for the rider to understand their own bodies and how they affect the balance of the equine.
If you want your animal in good posture, you have to pay attention to your own posture because they watch you. The animals mimic what you do, and you mimic what they do. I see this with people all the time. They're leading their horses, and you watch the way the people move, and the horses are moving the same way, and the mules and the donkeys, the same thing. Your animal needs to learn where his body is in space and learn how to keep his posture good and equal balance over all 4 feet and learn to go in rhythm and cadence. People need to do that too. What we do is we take a school mule and we put our student on the school mule without stirrups, without reins.
Walk on. Atta boy. Okay, just let your arms drape down to the sides and roll your shoulders back a little bit. Just try to get loose. Whatever feels good.
And we work at all 3 gaits. And I ask the students to go ahead and just try to find their balance while the animal's at the walk, and you start very slowly.
Let him move you. Don't you try to move him. Atta boy. Walk on, Ely. Good boy. Walk on.
You do this in a round pen in a controlled situation. Make sure that your student has a helmet on in case they fall off. You don't want anybody to get hurt. And you let them ride, and you have them hold their arms out, in front of them, in back of them.
Shoulders back a little bit. Loosen up in your legs. Look to the outside. Stay on that left leg. That'll help you stabilize.
Balance shifts. And if they can keep their seat in the middle of the mule, then the seat is going to start getting more secure. And what you want them to do is think about the energy flowing from a core. And your core is down deep in your abdomen, down below, behind the belly button. And what you need to do is think about energy coming from the core and drifting down through your legs to the ground.
Canter, Ely. That's it. Keep your shoulders back. Keep your eyes up. To the outside, stay on that outside leg.
Your legs feel like they're extensions alongside of your animal's legs, moving at whatever gait that they're doing. Then you think about the upper part of your body, the energy running up through the top of your head, and feel like there's a string attached to the top of your head while you're moving. And these 2 things are happening at the same time.
Hands in front. That's it. Look outside the arena, outside. Because you have a tendency to want to lean in this way, and I'm trying to compensate for that. So look to the outside of the arena.
And once your student gets the feel and can start moving along with the animal without losing their balance, the next thing to do is to have them close their eyes.
Keep your eyes closed, and then just sink into the saddle.
All of a sudden, when you close your eyes, you become unaware of what direction you're going or where you are in space. And all of a sudden you get connected with the movement of that animal. And that's the best way I know to put a rider in connection with the motion of the animal and start the harmonious development of the rider with the mule.
When the rider's seat is finally balanced and secure, he'll have more control over his hands and can communicate through the bit more effectively.
Okay, B. Over.
The role the bit plays in your equine's mouth can cause problems if not fit or used properly. If he's not responding correctly, it's important to consult a veterinarian to rule out any dental issues.
Francis, can I have a little peek in your mouth and see what's in there?
Oats.
That's not going to be scary, is it?
Good girl.
No, that doesn't hurt.
What a
Oh,
good
yeah.
girl.
So if we imagine that this skull has a tongue, the tip of the tongue should be sitting just behind the inside border of these incisors. So when we put a bit in an animal's mouth, what actually happens? Where does the bit have an effect? Most of that is going to be determined on what type of bit it is. And if we think about something that would be a high port bit that has a big U-shaped configuration here that then actually is inside this guy's mouth, when we pull on that, it rolls that U up. So what does that do? That hits the upper palate of an animal. When we put a bit in a horse's mouth, you can look at that as an attention-getting device. That doesn't mean it's painful. It just means there's something there that is not normally there, and that's how we are communicating to some degree with the animal. On the other hand, things that or bits that might have a rough surface, a spiraled surface, what they will do is they will tend to do their message sending a lot along what are called the bars, which would be this area here in a horse's mouth. And if you imagine, and these are very easily palpable with your fingers when you're actually working on a horse. It's amazing how little tissue there is that covers the bars of a horse's or a mule's mouth. So what happens is that bit is putting pressure on the soft tissues in the bars, but it will translate through the soft tissue to the bone. And severely conformed bits or people who use bits severely can do a considerable amount of damage to a horse's mouth. It's not that common that we should be hitting the horse's teeth if the horse is responsive and if we're training them properly. If you think about his upper row of what we call cheek teeth, which includes both premolars and molars, the first one, or the one closest to his nose, would be a wolf tooth. That's premolar 1. And as far as wolf teeth go, they don't really serve a useful function for an animal in that they don't chew with them, they don't use them for anything. So they're a vestigial tooth left over from probably back when equidae and horses and well, we didn't have mules back in prehistoric times, but when they actually were a bit of a carnivore. They may have used those for eating meat. One of the reasons that wolf teeth get removed is you can imagine that here's this tiny little tooth that's not well anchored like these are. It's just hanging there. And this bit's coming back here and hitting them constantly.
Being aware of dental problems and potential soreness in your equine's mouth will help to make his training easier. Remembering that the bit is critical to your communication, take the time to find the correct fit. Measure the width of your animal's mouth and add 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch on each side. At the Lucky 3 Ranch, the preferred bit is the egg butt snaffle bit. Snaffle bits put pressure on the corners of the lips instead of the tongue. This means when you pull the right rein, the animal's head moves directly and freely to the right, and the same for the left. Whether you're using a snaffle bit or a curve bit, when you pull back, the indication is clear for the animal to back, and when you release, for him to go forward. The corners of the mouth are the most sensitive to vibration, and he'll respond to less and less pressure as he learns what you want through repetition. Many people think that if an animal doesn't comply, they just need a stronger bit. The truth is that the rider needs to address their own riding practices and learn how to cooperate with their equine instead of trying to control him. When we come back, we go through the next stage of the athletic conditioning training with ground driving.
Colorful Colorado, with its majestic Rocky Mountains and wide open spaces, also boasts the Loveland Longears Museum and Sculpture Park at the Lucky 3 Ranch, home of some of the finest mules and donkeys in the world. This working ranch is just 40 miles north of Denver. World-renowned authority on mules and donkeys, Meredith Hodges, invites you and your family for an adventure in learning you won't want to miss. Come visit the Lucky 3 Ranch, meet Meredith, her champion mules and donkeys, and take in the beauty of her Longears art for the experience of a lifetime.
Hi, I'm Meredith Hodges, and welcome to the Lucky 3 Ranch Training Tips. I get a lot of letters and emails from people with training and behavior questions about their equines. So I'm going to take you back to the beginning with a series of training tips that work for all equines. Proprioception is defined as the unconscious perception of movement and spatial orientation arising from stimuli within the body itself. Equines are not born with an awareness of their own bodies. For instance, the equine that steps on your foot does so because he's not in full control of his own body. He doesn't necessarily know where his foot is going to land when he picks it up and puts it back down. If he was made aware of his body through the correct kinds of leading exercises, he would already be in a secure balance, a balance that allows him to deliberately and safely pick up his foot and carefully put it back down. The equine that steps on the hose during bathing is again unaware of his own body and doesn't necessarily know where his foot will land and really doesn't care. However, the equine that steps around the hose is exhibiting strength and security in his balance, which means he's attentive and can deliberately place his feet where he wants them to be. The equine that moves when being mounted is simply not strong in good balance. He's not stable enough to maintain his own balance when the rider pulls the saddle sideways during mounting. The equine that has had the benefit of good posture leading training will be able to hold his foursquare stable body position during mounting. The equine that is secure in his balance with body awareness can strategically place his feet wherever you want them, which is very helpful during a demanding process such as taking an X-ray when he's required to stand on blocks. Just like any athlete, your equine needs to be slowly and correctly trained for all of his activities, including carrying a rider. Round pen exercises cannot accomplish this by themselves. Leading training assures that he will learn to travel correctly and to bend his body through the ribcage into the arc of a circle, while remaining erect with sufficient forward motion, which is called impulsion. Working with proprioception or body awareness in the beginning during leading training will later allow your equine under saddle to do correct and simultaneous lead changes front and back, and beautifully balanced jumps from this newly acquired balance foundation. Here's an engineer. How did you know that? So we go see a huge mule. Because this head, too fine. Struck with the head. That's all you gotta do. Okay, come on, boys. Let's go. Come on.
Every owner knows that a well-taken care of equine is a happy equine. More and more, a technique being used to enhance our animals' overall conditioning is equine massage.
What you have to realize is you're training an animal in their muscle tissue, and their muscle tissue has to be able to perform the task that you're asking the animal to perform. If you're having a hard time doing the advanced things, you need to go back to the beginning. The massage helps break the pattern of the neurons that fire to that muscle, that tell it to contract, to contract, to contract.
With proper instruction, just about anyone can learn to give their equine the benefit of basic massage.
I've been working on equines for a long time, and a lot of people look at you and hope that you can just come out and make an animal better. And you can't do that. It takes two pieces, the massage as well as the exercise. And the exercise is actually more important than the massage. And that's something that people really have to understand. And Meredith's tapes do that. And a lot of people don't want to take that long a time frame. They just want to do their 60 days, get on the animal and ride them. But that's not really where you can go with their backs.
For more intensive therapeutic massage, be sure to consult a professional. Equine massage not only enhances your animal's health and overall condition, it's also a deeply personal and rewarding bonding experience for both of you.
Many of you who love your horses also love your dogs. This type of massage can be beneficial for all your pets. If you want to improve your animal's quality of life, I can help. I can either teach you how to do it, or I can massage your dogs for you. Contact me at dogmassage.com.
Hi, I'm Meredith Hodges, and welcome to the Lucky 3 Ranch Training Tips. I get a lot of letters and emails from people with training and behavior questions about their equines. So I'm going to take you back to the beginning with a series of training tips that work for all equines. There is a common misperception that showmanship is just a class at an equine show. The truth is that showmanship is beneficial to your equine. It is a training program that involves learning to lead your animal with physical purpose in mind and to correctly execute movements with a deliberate plan. With both of you in good posture throughout all leading exercises, including leading over and through obstacles. Showmanship training provides the foundation for all the physical exercise that will be required of your equine during his lifetime. It also ensures that good manners are being cultivated along the way. Paying attention to good posture and repetitively executing movements correctly will physically benefit both of you. It will also help to strengthen the bond between you, because when you and your equine are in good posture and executing movements correctly, it quite simply feels good. When he is consistently rewarded for compliance during his lessons at home, he will be much more willing to stand still and be obedient at a show. Using showmanship during practice teaches your equine patience and obedience, which will serve him well during maneuvers such as mounting, going through gates, and during regular handling and use. Showmanship training promotes strength in balance and good posture, which keeps your animal's internal organs healthy and functioning properly. This, in turn, leads to longevity in your equine and many years of enjoyment together.
Artwork inspired by mules and donkeys is quickly gaining popularity. Tennessee mule artist Bonnie Shields has the uncanny ability to capture the fun-loving nature of these free-spirited animals.
They were like a horse, but they weren't like a horse. They had a little different body. They used their body a different way. They certainly had a different mental attitude. So they started intriguing me as an artist, and I kept finding the differences between them and the horse, both physically and in their reaction to things. So that started my love affair with the mule. When you deal with the mule, you're not always in charge. So it takes a little bit of a different kind of personality to appreciate the mule and to work with her.
She was the only artist that could really capture the essence of mules and donkeys. Mules and donkeys are really good teachers and teachers of life lessons. And Bonnie has just been an inspiration to me ever since. Wow, how'd it do?
Whoa. I know that all through the years, Meredith gives tours to the ranch. But what a wonderful addition to this whole ranch would be a sculpture park just for the mules and the donkeys. So I just thought it was an awesome idea. And then she let me be part of it. It's a wonderful thing, and when you come to visit the Lucky Three, it's just an added bonus. Mule people, you reckon I can get Meredith to make a tape on how to teach your mule to shovel snow? I sure gonna try. Wish me luck.
Just a wonderful human being, and working with her is always humorous. She is just funny as the day is long, and so I thought that she would be absolutely perfect as the illustrator for the Jasper series that I wanted to do.
The Daydreamers was inspired by a thing that I saw years ago. I heard about this family up in Kentucky. They'd been working tobacco out in the field with their mules. And one of the boys, he was laying across this mule's back, laying in the shade. They'd been working, and he was resting on the back of his mule in the shade. That just kind of stuck with me, and I thought, gee, a kid like that, you know, he thinks he's stuck on the farm. He thinks he's stuck doing all this terrible old work, and he's laying up there and he's daydreaming about getting away from it all. So that's where Daydreamer came from. Sculpture's not the only thing I do. Matter of fact, I got into sculpture maybe a little later in my career. Mostly, I was known for my pencil drawings and my acrylic paintings for many, many years.
Long-ears art. It may be whimsical, like a cartoon, or it may simply be breathtaking. Long ears are taking their place in the world of art, and it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Okay, Judy, walk on.
Now that your equine knows his verbal commands while lunging, it's time to get him comfortable and responsive to the drive lines. Begin in the round pen and then move to an open arena. This challenges your technique with the reins and his responsiveness. But remember, break things down into lessons that are doable so you don't overwhelm him.
Ground driving is a wonderful preparation for the rein cues that they're going to get in driving and riding. Good girls. What you're doing is you're teaching the animal to have more confidence and to take some responsibility for leadership. And by putting them out in front of you. And that also is a validation of the trust that they have in you. Atta girl, just walk. You've taught trust, you've taught confidence, you've taught how to negotiate his body over these obstacles and patterns, and he hasn't had the benefit of really having the bit worked on yet.
When you're ground driving, be sure to clarify with the verbal commands they've learned with lunging.
Walk.
It helps them to associate rein control with a command they already know, and you won't need to pull with the reins as much.
If they're submissive in the ground driving where you actually have your hands attached to their mouth with a direct rein, they learn your touch, they learn your signals, they learn to respond appropriately as they will when you get on. Ultimately, your animal needs to learn that when you pull right, he needs to go right, and the communication, it's going to come from the bit, from the mouth. It has, eventually, if he goes to a show, he's got to have a bit in his mouth. So he's got to learn how to do this. And you need to know, too, how to pull on these reins and develop your hands to their mouth and your ability to communicate. You can't pull harder. You're going to get an overreaction. My animals work on little finger motions. And that's how I start with them. I don't get into pulling matches with these guys unless they're just going crazy off to the side or something. No. Then I pull, but I release, let them go to the side, try again. But each time working towards the lightest contact possible to get the appropriate reaction.
Come on, good girl.
And the end result of that is that you've taught your own body to be so light that it takes an imperceptible movement, which you translate in your head to go, wow, I just thought of that and they did it. And that's what you're working towards.
Walk.
You both learning how to cooperate together, your own body awareness, his body awareness, and it enhances communication. Ground driving has tremendous value.
The hourglass pattern demands both rider and equine to be balanced and in harmony. The rider will clearly see how their body directly affects the balance of the equine.
In the arena, when you begin the hourglass pattern, this seems like a real simple pattern, but it's very good for helping the animals learn how to balance their own bodies. When you lay the proper foundation and you do your lead line training properly and you do your ground driving properly, when you do go into the arena to do the hourglass pattern, they've already been ground driven through this pattern, and they know the lines and they know they're supposed to be in a straight line. So the only thing that's really throwing them off is having a rider on board. And so the weaving that you get when they're going through the pattern, you have to understand, is coming from your body. 2, 2, 2. They're trying to compensate for what's happening with you on board. So you will see several stages in the hourglass pattern. The first thing that will happen is, of course, the weaving. And then after they're weaving and they be slightly reluctant to go because they don't know how to compensate for your balance, they will start to speed up after that. And in order to stop them from speeding up, you don't want to have to start pulling on the reins or anything. Just go ahead and take circles at the cones, and this allows them to adjust their own bodies with minimal interference. And I like to tell people that the elbow pull, again, has been a restraint in the round pen that is very helpful. It's very supportive. It's something that they can lean on when they start falling out of balance. It reminds them and it gives them some kind of rest when they do fall out of balance, because they can't go completely out of balance. They can kind of lean up on it and hold that balance for a minute or two, give themselves some relief, and then go back to it. If you were to go to the hourglass pattern and not use the elbow pull while you were riding, your animal would compensate for you being on board by raising his head and hollowing his back and going out of frame and posture, and consequently building muscle out of posture the wrong way, and you would eventually have to break that loose to get back into good posture to get ultimate performance from your animal. It might take 1 year, might take 2. It depends on the individual. They build muscle at different rates, so you have to be willing to take the time that it takes with your individual animal. But when they do, then you're going to get good, smooth, straight lines and curves, and they'll be very responsive to you. You will learn what is a half halt or a call to balance. And your animal will know that it's okay to do that. If they need to slow a step a little bit and kind of hesitate to get their balance to maintain it, you will allow them to do that, and they feel that it's okay, and that's how you get the perfection and performance from your animal.
When we come back, we'll explore the benefits of massage for your equine. To build strong, healthy muscles, it's important to structure exercise sessions correctly. Your equine needs to be warmed up, actively stretched, stressed slightly beyond what's comfortable, and cooled down. Keep the lesson short, never more than every other day, and be watchful for any soreness and injury. It helps to consult with another member of his health team, the equine masseuse.
My name is Joanne Lang, and I'm a Master Certified Massage Therapist for humans, horses, and dogs. Here we have Sonny. If I just do an overall body look at him, I'm going to work in this area here, and I'm going to work on his rear, and I'm also going to work on shoulders and neck. He's not a youngster anymore. He's been carrying this big body around for 28 years. He looks pretty darn good. Massage is really important for equines because most of their body is muscle. And if you don't address muscle tissue, you're only addressing parts of the body. When I first start, he's going to be a little bit ornery because he's got something on his mind. It's called food. And he's thinking that there's a good chance food might show up. Now, when I'm massaging him, too, a lot of animals think it's the you scratch me, I scratch you hour, which is why he's doing this to Chad. As you hit good spots, sometimes they think that they should be scratching back or grooming back. It's a bonding experience, plus it's an experience to learn how your animal speaks to you. Your animal will trust you in a different way that they're not used to trusting you. They really, at first, don't even realize you're trying to communicate with them. So it takes some time for you to speak with them and for them to speak back to you. And then when you start getting them to talk back to you, you want a good girl, yes, that's what I want. Good. As his head comes up, he's telling me to lighten up. As his head comes down, he's relaxing. Good. What a good boy. And now you can see that as I'm working with him, his head's starting to, he picked up his head a little bit, but his head will start to rock back and forth a little bit. Then I kind of know that he's getting in the zone. He's relaxing, he's letting this leg go. As I move him, he moves through his entire body. He's not stiffening up. The animals, when I first start with them, if I try to do some range of motion with their neck, they kind of don't really want to move their neck. And then as I soften the tissue up, then they'll start coming around and talking to me and loosening that up. He liked it. It was a little deep. I had to come out a little bit. Good boy. Oh, this spot is a good spot. Right here. People are much more interested in doing massage and chiropractics and acupuncture, and they're finding that there's more avenues than just veterinary medicine and that they really do work. The exercise is very important. The massage is very important, keeping the muscle tissue supple. The stretching is important, again, keeping the animal supple and keeping the animal aware of their body.
Watch this raise right here. Hold.
Stretching is another important element of your equine's training program. There is a certain amount of stretching that takes place during active exercise, but this doesn't address the fullest range of muscle motion. You can accomplish this by adding passive stretching exercises to your equine's routine. These exercises are particular to each stage of training, and it's important to not only know how to do the stretches correctly, but which stretches are appropriate for your equine's level of performance. During lead line training, begin with head and neck stretches. This stretches the neck and back and loosens muscles throughout the body in preparation for conditioning. When your equine graduates to the round pen and more active exercise, introduce mild stretches for the front and rear legs. The stretches, like training, begin with simple movement and increase in difficulty as your equine progresses. Remember to always review and repeat to reinforce habits and keep muscles toned before adding anything new.
Having problems? Need an accessible trainer? Whether you're just a weekend trail rider or showing, the principles of training are the same. You want a safe and reliable equine companion. Produced by Meredith Hodges, Training Mules and Donkeys, a logical approach to long ears, will help you build a good working relationship with your animal. Meredith reveals the secrets of successful maintenance and resistance-free training that can be implemented by anyone, resulting in a satisfying partnership between you and your equine. Meredith answers your training questions promptly via mail or phone. Her books are great general resources and her videos are detailed, outlining the day-to-day exercises needed to produce a versatile and dependable equine companion. Meredith's techniques work with all equines. Do you have children, grandchildren? Check out Jasper, the story of a mule. For more information, check out our website at www.lucky3ranch.com or call 1-800-816-7566.
Mules are working their way into the hearts of people everywhere. If you'd like to know more about these wonderful long-eared animals, you can contact us at 1-800-816-7566 or get on our website at lucky3ranch.com.
Dusty old quilt hung crooked on a couch in an old stone house by a lazy river.